Have you ever waited for someone you believed could change your life, only to realize that your greatest blessing was standing somewhere else entirely? Sometimes the moments that break our hearts are the very moments that lead us to someone who needs us most. Tonight's story is about one young man whose dream date never arrived, but what happened instead changed more than one life forever. As snow quietly covered the streets, he sat alone with a single rose in his hand, wondering why he had been forgotten. Just when he thought the night was ruined, he noticed something that no one else seemed to see. A mother was crying in the freezing snow, holding her little child close. What happened after that proves one simple truth. Kindness always finds its way back. Before we begin, if you enjoy heartwarming stories that remind us there is still goodness in this world, please like this video, subscribe to Kindness Library, and leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. Your support helps us share more stories that inspire hope and compassion. Daniel had planned every detail of the evening. At 28, he had spent years working hard as a mechanic in a small town outside Chicago. Life had never been easy, but he believed good things came to people who stayed honest and patient. Tonight was special because he was finally meeting Emily, a woman he had been talking to for months. They had laughed over phone calls, shared dreams, and promised this would be the beginning of something beautiful. He arrived at the restaurant 30 minutes early. He wore his best suit, bought a single red rose, and waited with a hopeful smile. Families enjoyed dinner together. Couples laughed across candlelit tables. Every time the door opened, Daniel looked up, expecting Emily to walk in. 30 minutes became an hour. He checked his phone again and again. No message. No call. The waiter walked over gently. "Would you like to order something?" Daniel forced a smile. "I think I'll wait a little longer." Another 20 minutes passed before his phone finally buzzed. His heart raced as he opened the message. "I'm sorry. I met someone else. Please don't wait for me." That was all it said. Daniel stared at the screen. The words felt colder than the snow falling outside. He quietly paid for the untouched dinner reservation and walked into the freezing night. Snowflakes landed on his coat as he wandered through the city streets. His heart felt empty. He wondered why people could be so careless with someone else's feelings. As he passed a small park, he noticed something unusual. Near a bench sat a young woman wrapped in a thin coat. She held a little girl who couldn't have been older than 5. The child shivered while the woman wiped tears from her face, trying hard not to let her daughter see her crying. Most people walked by without slowing down. Daniel almost kept walking too. Then he remembered how lonely he felt only minutes earlier. He turned around. "Excuse me," he said softly. "Are you okay?" The woman quickly tried to hide her tears. "We're fine." But the little girl whispered, "Mommy is cold." Daniel knelt beside them. "My name is Daniel. Is there anything I can do?" The woman hesitated before answering. "My name is Sarah. We were evicted this afternoon. I lost my job last month, and I couldn't pay the rent. The shelter is full tonight. I don't know where we're supposed to sleep." Daniel looked at the little girl's tiny hands, red from the cold. Without thinking twice, he removed his warm winter coat and wrapped it around the child. The little girl smiled for the first time that evening. "Thank you," she whispered. Daniel knew one coat wouldn't solve everything. "There is a family diner a few blocks away," he said. "Would you let me buy you both dinner?" Sarah looked embarrassed. "We can't repay you." "You don't have to." Inside the diner, the warmth slowly returned to their faces. The little girl happily ate pancakes while Sarah quietly enjoyed a bowl of soup. Daniel learned that Sarah had worked as a nursing assistant before budget cuts cost her job. She had applied everywhere but hadn't found another position. Every dollar she had was gone. After dinner, Daniel called his older friend Mike, who managed a small apartment building. "Do you still have that empty studio?" Mike paused. "It's available. I know someone who desperately needs a safe place tonight." Mike trusted Daniel. Bring them over. Within an hour, Sarah and her daughter had a warm room, clean blankets, and a roof over their heads. Sarah could barely speak through her tears. I don't know how to thank you. Daniel smiled. When life gets better, help someone else. Weeks passed. Daniel returned to work and almost forgot about the painful night that had started everything. Then one afternoon Sarah walked into his repair shop. She looked completely different. She wore clean work clothes and carried confidence in her smile. I got a new job at the county hospital, she said happily. And Lily started school. Daniel smiled. I knew things would get better. Sarah handed him a small envelope. Inside was the money he had spent helping them. Daniel gently pushed it back. I didn't help you because I wanted repayment. Sarah smiled. I know. That's exactly why I wanted to return it. Instead, Daniel suggested something else. Let's use it to buy groceries for another family. Sarah nodded. I'd love that. That weekend they filled shopping carts with food, blankets, diapers, and winter clothes. Together they delivered everything anonymously to a local shelter. Lily proudly carried one of the grocery bags. Mommy, she whispered, we're helping people like someone helped us. Sarah looked at Daniel with grateful eyes. You didn't just save one night, she said. You changed our future. Months slowly turned into a year. Daniel and Sarah became close friends. Their friendship grew naturally through acts of kindness instead of grand promises. One snowy evening, almost exactly 1 year after they first met, Daniel returned to the same park. This time Sarah and Lily were waiting there. Lily handed him a single red rose. Sarah laughed. I thought someone shouldn't spend another snowy night waiting alone. Daniel smiled wider than he ever had. I think this is the best date I've ever had. The little girl giggled. I knew Mommy would show up. The three of them walked together through the softly falling snow, no longer strangers brought together by heartbreak, but a family built on compassion, trust, and hope. Daniel often thought about the message Emily had sent that painful night. At first it felt like rejection. Now he saw it as redirection. If she had arrived, he would never have walked through that park. He would never have met Sarah or Lily. He would never have discovered that the greatest love stories often begin with simple kindness instead of perfect plans. Life doesn't always give us what we expect. Sometimes it closes one door so quietly that we only hear the sound of another opening later. Every act of kindness, no matter how small, has the power to change someone's future, and sometimes it changes your own as well. So the next time your plans fall apart, don't lose hope. Look around. Someone nearby may be waiting for the kindness only you can give. And remember, the smallest act of compassion can become the beginning of the most beautiful story of all.